I realize this is a really tough day for all the families. Remembering is important, but it's also painful. 1 year ago today, Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, turned into another killing field in America. A few days later, Jill and I traveled there and stood before those 21 crosses outside the school. On each cross, a name, like in these candles behind us, 19 children, 9, 10, 11 years old, and 2 devoted educators, and 17 more injured. We spent hours with the grieving families who were broken and never, ever will quite be the same. To the families of the children and the educators who we know that 1 year later it's still so raw for you. A year of missed birthdays and holidays, school plays, soccer games. Just that smile. A year of everyday joys gone forever. The bend of his smile, the perfect pitch of her laugh. At a vigil, a few months later, one of the moms said, "When I lay in bed and turn to my side, envisioning her staring back at me, I want so badly to be part of alternative reality that just doesn't exist. This is my reality, because my 10-year-old daughter was murdered in her 4th grade classroom." Standing there in Uvalde, Jill and I couldn't help but think that too many schools, too many everyday places have become killing fields in communities all across every part of America. And in each place, we hear the same message. Do something. For God's sake, please do something. We did something afterwards, but not nearly enough. We still need to ban, in my view, AR-15 firearms, assault weapons, once again. You know, they've been used time and again in mass killings of innocent children and people. We need to ban high-capacity magazines, the ability to shoot 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 bullets without reloading. Because today, guns remain the number one killer of children in America, guns. And over the last year since Uvalde, our country has experienced a staggering 650 mass shootings. And it's hard to say, well over 40,000 deaths due to gun violence. We can't end this epidemic until Congress pass some common sense gun safety laws to keep weapons of war off our streets and out of the hands of dangerous people. Until states do the same thing. How many more parents will live their worst nightmare before we stand up to the gun lobby to establish universal background checks, establish national red flag laws, require safe storage of firearms, and end immunity from liability for gun manufacturers? The only major corporate entity that doesn't have this immune to liability. Even a majority of responsible gun owners support these common sense actions to save lives and keep our community safe. So it's time to act. It's time to act. It's time to make voices heard, not as Democrats or as Republicans, but as friends, as neighbors, as parents, as fellow Americans. And I'm being deadly earnest when I say that. You know, I know for a long time it's been hard to make progress, but there will come a point where our voices are so loud, our determination so clear that we can no longer be stopped. We will act. You know, a year ago after visiting the school, that same day we attended Mass at Sacred Heart Catholic Church. In the pews, families and friends held each other tightly. As the Archbishop spoke, he asked the children in attendance to come up on the altar and sit with him as he spoke on the altar. There wasn't enough room for everybody to go up on the altar, so a mom and her young son sat next to us. They had us in the first pew, and they sat next to us. As we left the church, a grandmother who just lost her granddaughter, came up to us and quietly passed us a note, a handwritten letter. And here's what it read. Erase the invisible line that is dividing our nation. Come up with a solution and fix what's broken and make the changes that are necessary to prevent this from ever happening again. My fellow Americans, you know, you almost feel the pain. For we've lost children. We have to do this to save our children. For the nation we love, to erase that invisible line. Jill and I stand here today, as earlier this morning we were talking about planning a memorial service this weekend, celebrating the anniversary of the death of our son, Bo. Well, guess what? While everyone's pain is different, we, like many of you, have some understanding what it's like to lose a child on more than one occasion. For those who've lost a loved one in Uvalde, to the moms, the dads, the brothers, the sisters, the grandmoms, the grandpops, this is what I know. One, they'll never be gone from your heart. They'll always be part of you. And I know this as well. As unbelievable as it sounds, I promise you, a day will come when you pass that ice cream store, you pass that park, you pass that thing that brings back the memory of your son or daughter. It's going to bring a smile to your lips when you think of them before it brings a tear to your eye. That's when you know you're going to make it. And our prayer for you from the bottom of our heart is that day will come sooner than later. Sooner than later. But God willing, it will come. As I said, that's when you know you're going to make it. God bless those 21 blessed souls lost in this day in Uvalde. And may God bless their families. We're thinking of you.
Any update on the debt talks, Mr. President, please?
Some deeply moving words from the president, the First Lady, Jill Biden, standing just behind him as he talked about the one-year mark since that horrible day in Uvalde at Robb Elementary. He talked about having met with the parents, the families, he and the First Lady. He talked about Congress and the need to act. And he said that it must seem to those families and the people around this country who want change that it's been hard to make progress. But he also made the point that at some point in this country, the voices are going to be so loud that politicians will finally have to act. I want to bring in ABC's John Quinones in Uvalde. He's joined by Maria Elena Salinas, also from our team here at ABC. And of course, they, along with a small team of producers and crew, have been in Uvalde for the last year. We call it Uvalde 365, and we know those of you at home, and particularly in that community, don't call it anything other than the sheer pain that they have gone through and continue to go through to this day. And John and Maria, John, I'll let you take it. You just had a special here on ABC, and you spoke of the small triumphs, but the journey that will continue for all these families.
Yes, David, no doubt the president's words today will be well received here. The question is, can those words be turned into legislation? It's been a somber, reflective day here. This morning started with some of the families going to the local cemetery to visit the grave sites of their loved ones. Some mothers marched around the murals in the downtown area with images of their loved ones. The most touching of all was the release of 21 butterflies into the sky at 11:32 this morning, the moment the gunman went into the Robb Elementary School right behind him and started shooting. And then at 12:49, the tolling of church bells throughout the city, marking the moment the gunman was finally confronted. Tonight, there will be a public candlelight vigil here in Uvalde.
And John, I know there have been so many questions for law enforcement, their response, being held accountable to this day. This will go on for some time. Maria Elena, your interviews from the very start were among the most moving, and I'm sure on this day you're thinking about the family members, the loved ones that you sat down with.
I definitely am. There were so many people that we were able to interview that welcomed us into their house in the middle of the pain that they had. A lot of mothers and fathers who lost their children, and also some of the survivors. We have to remember also that there are survivors who are continuing to live with the pain. They're living with not only the physical scars for some of them, but the emotional scars for all of them. I did have an opportunity to sit down with 4 of the mothers who have formed a very special bond among them. They text each other, they call each other, they support each other in good times and in bad times. And it was interesting to hear President Biden said that when they see the places that remind them of their kids, it will first bring a smile before bringing a tear. And that's exactly what happens with some of these families. When they walk to those murals, they have told them that that is the one place that brings them peace, that brings them joy. They love to see their loved ones depicted, their stories depicted on these walls.
Maria, Elena, our thanks to you and to John, and again to that tiny and committed crew behind the scenes from here at ABC News who have spent the last year living and reporting there in Uvalde. Our thanks to you all. I want to bring Terry Moran into the conversation. He's live at the White House for one last question here. Terry, you heard me mention there that the president did say it might seem like it's very difficult to get any progress in this country, but at some point, as you heard me mention, the voices will be so loud that the politicians, in so many words, won't be able to ignore it. And I think it's important for us to point out where the polling actually is in this country, that the vast majority of Americans do, in fact, want something done here.
No question about that, David. That is the hope, and you're right, it is the hope of the majority of Americans that things like universal background checks and red flag laws to keep guns out of the arms of people already adjudged to be dangerous, that can be done at the national level to try to stop this. But, President Biden speaks at an occasion like this, as he noted, from a deep well of the experience of pain. He says more than once he understands the pain of losing a child. And yet he stands before the country, as so many of his predecessors have, on this occasion, clothed with the enormous power of the presidency, almost helpless before the intractable debate about guns in this country, before that line that the grandmother in Uvalde asked him to erase. And he does believe, he has the hope that enough voices will be raised to erase that line, but one wonders if the murdered children of Uvalde can't erase it. It's hard to see what will.